So this past Sunday, I was really moved by the message of faith in action, and this whole series is how it's been going on, and how we just really are being called to put our faith in action, as it says. And this past Sunday, I was just felt really compelled to want to go out of my way and sort of bless someone, far beyond what our normal everyday routines are, and going out and having fun. And I was fortunate enough to have one of my really good friends from Egypt, his name was Ibrahim, over for a visit in Seattle. And besides showing him the sights around Seattle and doing the touristy things, that Sunday night, his last night, we just made a choice to go out and find someone. And basically what we did is we bought a couple of pizzas and some warm chocolate chip cookies. And it wasn't very expensive, but it was sort of a treat. I wanted it to be something a little bit special and memorable. And then we just drove, and as we drove, we were in prayer the whole time, just praying for divine appointments and praying for God to really open up the door for people who needed love, and just for us to be able to give the right words and just be an extension of His love and grace. And so in doing so, it was just the two of us walking a cold and rainy night, actually, and we'd run into people, and God would just point us in the right direction every time. And in doing so, I think we met over a dozen people, and we're just able to sit and spend some time with each of them and get their names and get their stories. And like I said before, the pizza and the cookies were sort of a catalyst to open up doors and opportunities to be able to share and just, being that person, that open ear that maybe they haven't had in a while. And so as we shared stories, I remember a couple of stories. There was a guy named Scott that really impacted me most, and we sort of ran into him by chance because a car accident had happened right above us in the viaduct, and so he pulled out, and we both were staring at the accident at the same time. And so we had our box of pizza and opened it up to him, and he just ended up talking and sharing, and somehow or another God came up in the whole thing, and he proclaimed himself as a believer. And early on, I'd seen marks on his arms from needles, and his face just were years of addiction. And he said that he's still been battling, and he's still struggling with heroin, which is, a dark and very deadly drug. And he said through all of this, he still praises God. And he quoted scripture and was just very, very firm about his faith. And so it just really impacted all of us. And we were able to just talk about, what he'd wanted to do with his life and what he still wants to do. And a lot of it comes back to serving God and to serving people and, sort of paying forward the help that he's been getting. And what was really nice with everyone that we talked with too was that they had their little home, which was either just a corridor or like a cold and empty spot, and they all seemed just very welcoming and would bring you in and talk with you and spend that time. But at the end of that night, after spending probably about a good half an hour with Scott and Ibrahim and I, we just huddled in the rain and prayed out loud and just proclaimed God's truth and love. And it was remarkable. And I think, we prayed for delivery, and he also prayed for us. And it was just definitely a very God orchestrated moment.